There will be a lot of them. The last 5 years have been incredibly positive for real estate, and the disruptors were always lurking, but the macro tailwinds sort of hid that. So I think the disruptors fall into several different categories, each with a different potential risk and opportunity for real estate investors. I think when you use the word disruption, immediately your mind starts to go to technology, and I think technology will continue to be a great example of a disruptor that both creates value and hurts value depending on the situation in the market. So that would be perhaps one of the ongoing disruptors we're all going to be living with for not just the next 3 years, but for decades to come. The particular technologies, the particular things that are happening that will disrupt are changing. One's in financial services, I would put up at the top of the list. They've been hidden, but banks are increasingly, and financial services generally, finding a way to do more and more of their work efficiently and online. That actually removes headcount and hurts office space, but at the same time there's deregulation and new fintech ways that we do transactions, the ways in which we save, the ways in which we invest that actually will boost certain kinds of financial services. So in the great area of technology, I would say financial services is the next one to get hit, much the way retailing is already changing, and the way in which DNA, life sciences is already changing. I would say financial services would be moving up the ranking is next to be disrupted. But there are a lot of different disruptions that can happen when you think about the next 3 to 5 years. Geopolitical would be another one. Different changes in regimes around the world are already starting to hit our radar screens. There will be more of them still to come. Italy has an important election next week. France has elections later next year. And the list goes on. It's not just the Brexit vote in the UK and the US presidential election, but the geopolitical undercurrents of the world are really moving. And they're going to affect and disrupt real estate in a lot of countries.
Well, I'd say two things, and we've certainly heard them today up on the stage already. One, geopolitical events and politics, whether it's in the UK with Brexit, whether it's the US elections, whether it's what may happen in France next year. There's a whole raft of European elections. I think politics is a big disruptor. And then secondly, and maybe more long-term, technology. And again, we've been talking about that so far today. The impact of digitalization, impact of e-commerce on retail, and on just the way that we use real estate and operate within real estate, I think will be an enormous disruptor over a longer period of time.
Well, I think the most important thing is really going to be difficult to pinpoint supply and demand. We've really seen global growth slowing in many of the challenges that many of the economies are having in growing, and even at this low interest rate environment. So how companies and countries will respond to this challenge will be, I think, the biggest impediment that they have to actually overcoming this and determining what they should build and what people will occupy.
Well, the biggest disruptors to the global real estate market, I don't even know if they're the biggest disruptors, but I think one big thing that's going to change, two big things, actually. One, and I'm very US focused, is global capital flows and what's going to happen with Chinese capital. I think there is likely going to be a major shift in policy in China, and whether they're going to continue to bring a lot of capital to the US, I'm not sure I could say that's the case, or internationally, outside of China. In terms of the second one, I think it's Trump and whether he's going to repeal a significant amount of the banking regulations, which will change the capital flows again, but in terms of lending capital that's available to real estate, US real estate.
Well, I'd have to say right now it's a political environment. The Brexit, the Trump, the Italian referendum, the French elections, the upset in Hong Kong. I mean, there's so much going on that it's beyond real estate fundamentals. You almost have to be a political scientist if you're a global investor.